What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at the demo for Haven, an upcoming title from the publisher The Gaming Bakers, which is an indie developer that has published a couple games prior to this, but this is definitely probably their biggest project they've had so far. I remember Haven being announced a while back, kind of bounced off of it, to be honest. It's not like the type of game I would normally play, and if you're following this channel at all, you know it's well outside my wheelhouse, as RPGs and isometrics tend to kind of be where I gravitate towards. But this channel is subscribed to this Intel Gaming Access thing that Intel does, obviously. And basically they'll send you like keys and stuff for things just through email, that kind of stuff. And one of the things they offered me like a week or two ago was a key to the demo beta that you could activate on Steam and then play their demo. So I figured demos are very pro-consumer. And honestly, I kind of missed playing them as a kid. But I was like, sure, why not? I remember this being announced, even though it wasn't for me. I'll give this demo a shot. So the demo is about an hour long, and, it does what a demo does. It kind of introduces you to what's going on and tries to pique your interest a little bit. Diving right into it from here, you play as two characters, you and Kay, who are two lovers, really. Kay is a biologist, and you seems to have been a mechanic of some sort. And they escaped from this group called the Apiary. And the Apiary is some sort of science-y space exploration thing. It doesn't 100% explain what they are, which I think was by design. I think it was just meant to tease you a little bit. For whatever reason, you and Kay escaped from them to a shattered planet. So this planet, for whatever reason, was deemed uninhabitable by the Apiary. And while you're playing the demo, you can come across some old structures from where the Apiary had actually tried to explore prior to this. And in that same area, you discover this substance called rust. They just referred to it as rust. But basically, it seems to be covering the biological parts of what's left of this planet and causing some sort of problem. It's almost like a weird fungus. In order to clear it, you have to run over it with this stuff called flow, which seems to just be an alternative energy source that comes from the planet somehow. And you gather it by following flow threads around the environment. So basically you do this like a gliding move across the environment when you have enough flow from the flow threads, and this will take care of the rest. So at first I thought, maybe this was like just kind of an exploration game akin to something like Journey. However, there are actually some RPG elements. You can bring up your inventory, or your equipment screen, if you will. And they do have an equipment screen. It seems to affect combat abilities because there is combat. You can actually fight some of the monsters you see in the environment. There's a lot going on here. So that's kind of the general gist of the story. You and Kay are kind of trying to explore this broken planet, see why the Apiary decided not to pursue this place, even though it has, potential. And obviously exploring what the deal with this rust is. That's the general gist of the story. Now, the graphics are probably my favorite part of this, right? So it's an indie game. The graphics aren't polished to an absolute sheen like you would normally see with a AAA title, but they are very striking. Like these are some pretty cool graphics. Like the art style, the visuals, I'm a fan. That's actually probably the nicest thing I personally like about the game. The music I did want to touch on real quick. I'm not a huge music guy, to be honest with you, like background tracks. Like if I hear something I like, I'll obviously like it. However, I don't pretend to get into a lot of the technical stuff behind it. I did want to mention it though, because they actually brought on this guy who's famous for his anime intros. Like he composes a lot of them. I don't pretend to know how to pronounce this dude's name, but if you go to the Steam page, they actually have information about it there if you're interested in looking that up. You and Kay are lovers, like I mentioned earlier. However, you can actually play this single player or co-op. Like you can play co-op and somebody will be Kay or you or vice versa. Or you can just play single player by tabbing back and forth. But because of that, it definitely seems like if you're going to play co-op, they kind of intended it to be like a romantic partner co-op kind of thing. Because honestly, I would be super uncomfortable playing this with a friend. The dialogue and everything, it's intimate in a way that almost makes me uncomfortable, to be honest. It's like, just from the demo, it's like, it's almost like when you're in a room with a couple that's like oblivious to your presence and they're just making out hardcore. It's like, I would rather be anywhere else right now. So I don't know, it almost made me uncomfortable personally, but obviously if that sort of intimacy is what they were going for, they nailed it. The two characters obviously have that spark. So there's that. Now from your minute-to-minute gameplay, what you'll actually be doing is using this glide motion, which honestly is the part that reminded me the most of Journey, where basically, you kind of glide around the environment using these flow boots, that energy source that I mentioned earlier. Apparently they're powered by flow somehow, the boots that you're wearing, and you can use them to glide around. Now, the control system is a little wonky on PC. I will mention that the controls are not super tight, and they actually do recommend you play with a controller because of that, so it's not just me. So in addition to gliding around, exploring the world, clearing the rust that we mentioned, and kind of exploring the shattered planet, you can also go back to your little area, like your little spaceship, if you will. There's like a cooking mini game that they showed off. And it kind of really drives home that like intimate relationship you have with this person in the depths of space kind of thing going on. There you go, guys. That was my impressions from playing this demo from Haven. So there you go. I hope you guys liked it. It's definitely outside of my wheelhouse by a mile. So it was kind of new for me too. But, by all means, let me know if you liked it down in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.